So what
Okay.
did happen?
I told you guys it was going to be a close game. Dave actually made me a bet that when we go to the Bears-Packer game in December, that, you know, if the Packers win by more than 10, I have to buy him coffee every morning and go get coffee.
9.5.
9.5.
I should have said 8.5.
They won by 9
because
because I told him it was going to be like a 7-point game. It ended up being 9, so I get free coffee that weekend. So huzzah, I won that. But no, it's not that the sky was falling, Dave. It's that the Packers are obviously so much better than the Bengals, and their offense in the first half. Remember what I told you before? Matt LaFleur off of a bye has a losing record, which is not good. And Matt LaFleur off of a bye, I thought the offensive strategy in the first half was terrible against a very bad Bengals defense. Now, I will give some kudos, though, that something I didn't realize is that the Bengals actually have a new defensive coordinator. They fired the defensive coordinator. They brought in a new guy who was given new looks and schemes. So obviously when a new guy comes in, you don't necessarily know what they're going to throw at you. So I still think that we were way too conservative in the first half. We had 10 points on the board, but it was just like every other Packers game this year, guys, where it's like we dominate the first half. We always have the ball. The defense makes stops. The offense is moving down the field, but we don't create turnovers. And then we make one mistake, and then it's, you know, that 2-score game becomes a 1-score game, which happened again in the second half. The Bengals go down and score right away. And all of a sudden, it's a close game after we were completely running them into the ground. But again, we only got 10 points out of that because we were way too conservative in the first half, okay? But in the second half, Dave, he started letting Love actually throw the ball down the field against this very bad pass defense, and the Packers scored on every drive in the second half. So LaFleur made those adjustments against this new defensive coordinator. I will give him his credit there, and the offense looked much better in the second half. But the defense couldn't do anything against Flacco in the second half either because he figured us out. So I'll let Hype talk about that. Hype, how'd you feel about Joe Flacco and his 6 turnovers having 0 against the Packers again?
This is exactly what we
expected.
I have Flacco on my fantasy team, and I didn't start him because I was like, okay, the Packers defense this year, they do show up sometimes. And the game started off with them just smothering the Bengals, like not allowing them having any yards or nothing for the first couple drives or whatever, right? They were all over them. Micah Parsons was in their face. And you're like, this is exactly what they're supposed to look like. But in the back of your head, you're like, but that doesn't mean it's going to last the whole game. And then next thing you know, they're just picking the defense apart because they, like, you know, add an extra blocker in, give them a little bit more time. And it's like, you need, like, the defense plays like this weird zone thing where they just allow guys to do stuff. And Micah Parsons tells them, like, just bite on every move because I'm going to get to the quarterback. The problem is by the end of the game, teams start to figure out the blitz and start to block them better. And they're not getting to them quite as quickly, but they need to match up the back end and the front end, because when the back end's getting there quick, they're often off now and not covering them quickly. And then when they're not getting there, they're like, I don't know. It's like a weird thing where they need to figure this out on defense, but they just need to pin their ears back and attack and be aggressive and smart and get to the guys, because, like, you know, it's like the old Joe Barry thing of, like, they're always so worried about the back end and, like, long deep passes and stuff. Who cares? Let Xavier McKinney go back there and worry about that and play a single high deep safety and let everyone else just play super aggressive. Because even if there's a mistake made, hey, you're going to cause turnovers. You're going to get picks. You're going to make the offense freak out and not know what to do. I mean, they do have Jamar Chase, who's really good at getting open. So, yeah, maybe give him a little bit of a cushion. But you saw what happened. They still passed to him with 2 guys on him, and he got a touchdown. So you just got to be aggressive and try to get turnovers. You got to put pressure on the quarterback. You can't allow veteran quarterbacks to sit back there and find the holes in your defense because you're kind of like out of sorts. And so that's why people are texting Dave and getting angry, because you can see the potential of how good the defense should be, and it's just not there consistently.
Well, let me expand upon that. So in the first half, I don't think we blitzed more than once the entire first half. And to be fair, the Bengals weren't moving the ball. But again, we didn't create any turnovers. And by the second half, Joe Flacco figured that out. So Joe Flacco, I counted 12 times in the second half. By the way, Joe Flacco threw the ball 49 times. 49 times, and we got 1 sack because Joe Flacco caught the ball. 1, 2, throw. 1, 2, throw. 1-2 throw, because we're playing that soft cover 3. We're backing up 7 or 8 yards. And he knows the pass rush wasn't the problem. They were getting pressure. They were closing the pocket down. But Joe Flacco was just 1-2 open, 1-2 open, throwing it 6 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards. Very similar, guys, to what the Detroit Lions did to us in the first game, because we're playing this soft zone. So for 2 straight drives, he just walks the ball down the field because he's a veteran, and he's like, yeah, I'll take my time. I'll take a 5-yard pass every time. Thanks. I'll do that again. Thanks. I'll do that again. Thanks. I'll do that again. He's a veteran. He's not going to make these mistakes. So Hafley, who hasn't blitzed him in 30 straight passing plays, decides that he's going to blitz 5 guys, then he's 6 guys, then 7 guys. And so he blitzes like 5 plays in a row. And then he stops blitzing completely the rest of the game. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Hafley, blitzing is there to throw people off. If you never blitz and then you blitz every time in a row and then you never blitz again, you're doing the quarterback the biggest favor you could do him, because he's expecting it at that point, right? So I feel like Hafley was almost playing with loaded dice, in the sense that like he kept rolling and it kept coming up cover 3. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it kept coming up blitz. He didn't mix up packages, or at least it didn't feel that way. So again, no turnovers this week. So it's just frustrating, because this defense is good. It's not great, because great defenses create big plays and create turnovers, which this team does not do. But I think that's part of form and function, is that we're playing it safe. And again, we still played well on defense, but allowing these drives and allowing quarterbacks to just get these easy passes and get in a rhythm is going to come back against some of the better offenses in the league. So I'd like to see Hafley mix up blitzes a lot more. Even when the defense is dominating, that doesn't mean you don't have to blitz. Go try to create a turnover. Go try to create chaos, or put it in the quarterback's head that you can blitz at any time. And I feel like he's not creating any sort of fear in these quarterbacks. He's allowing them to pick apart the defense. And I personally don't like that with the talent that we have on the defensive line.
They need to figure out how to be a dominant defense without Devontae Wyatt in there. When Wyatt's healthy and he's in there in the middle, he causes big time problems. And you don't even have to be a good defensive coordinator. You're just like, okay, you 4 defensive linemen, LVN, Wyatt, Micah Parsons, and Gary, just go get the quarterback, and they can do it. You notice when Wyatt's not in there, Rashawn Gary's not getting much pressure or sacks. Micah Parsons gets in there quickly, but they'll put 2 guys on there to divert him. LVN got hurt in the game. So but if you want to be a good defense, you can't allow injuries and people to come out for a little bit to be your excuse. Other teams do that, and they figure out a way to play well still.
Every team has injuries. Every team has injuries. And don't tell me I like Devontae Wyatt, by the way, and I think he is excellent in the middle.
He's been playing great this year.
I'm more worried about the scheme, because I watched 2 or 3 plays where Micah Parsons, which probably should have got a holding call, where Micah Parsons beat his guy and was right there, and Flacco was just like, cool, open, and you could count to 2, and the ball was out of his hand almost every single time. 1-2 throw. 1-2 throw. It was just ridiculous. You can't expect Parsons to get the quarterback under a 2 count every single. It's impossible. Nobody does that, right? So I don't blame the defensive line at all. I think the scheme was too easy, and Hafley was just playing it way too safe. And when he did decide to blitz, it was almost all at once. And it's like, bro, mix it up. Mix it up. I know Flacco's a veteran, but still, he's slow. Mix it up. So anyway, that was my takeaway. But I will say this. Jordan Love threw that interception in the first half, which I felt like he was pressing a little bit to try to get the first down instead of kicking a field goal. And he calmed down after that. And again, it was kind of bad luck that it got tipped, and then it just went right to the Bengals guy.
That was a really stupid decision.
He was excellent in that game. He made so many good runs. Dude, Jordan Love with legs that work. Because everyone remember last year how much shit they gave him because, his throws were a little off or he made mistakes. Dude had 2 leg injuries. He had a groin injury and he had a leg injury, right? So he wasn't mobile. He couldn't move. And he was not throwing the ball with the same velocity. Jordan Love this year making plays out of the pocket, running around. Jordan Love was rolling out to his left, Dave. I don't know if you saw this highlight. He was rolling out to his left in the fourth quarter, and he was on the move, and he threw an absolute dart 38 yards down the field, perfect spiral right to Matthew Golden. It is one of the best throws I have seen him make. It was like a quintessential Aaron Rodgers throw where he's rolling against his strong arm and just flicks it, and it goes on an absolute laser 40 yards down the field. It was an unbelievably perfect throw. And I was like, that's the guy, right? So Jordan Love has been awesome this year. And despite his interception, which again, just kind of a bad decision, not an egregious play, and the slide he had in the fourth quarter where he slid before the first down, like, bro, just get the first down before you stop the clock. I know what he's thinking there, but he'll figure that out. I thought he played an almost perfect game, and he's been excellent this year.
He's good at running around and running the ball and like doing his bootlegs and stuff like that. He's been overall pretty good, but he still is making mistakes. And like when you watch the media talk about it, they're like, especially the Packer beat reporters, they're like, he still hasn't made that final step.
No, there's more of him to go, but here's something to keep in perspective, everybody. Look at Aaron Rodgers' stats year 1 and year 2 and compare them to Jordan Love. And by the way, Jordan Love injured last year. Jordan Love's stats are better, right? Jordan Love's wins are better. Jordan Love's playoff wins are better. Okay. So it wasn't until year 3 that Rodgers really showed up and showed out, took him to the Super Bowl. And then year 4 is when Rodgers had his MVP style play, right? When they went 15-1 and he was throwing touchdowns without even trying, right? So Rodgers wasn't really the guy that everybody thought he could be until year 4, right? End of year 3.
Not really. The end of year 3 in the Super Bowl, he was pretty perfect.
No, to be fair, end of year 3 is when it started.
They won like 10 games in a row, including the Super Bowl.
Exactly. So all I'm saying though is that like Jordan Love is going to make mistakes. He's in his first, like comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, like, okay, but don't compare him to Aaron Rodgers year 10. Compare him to Aaron Rodgers year 3. That's where he is.
They're two different people.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers was known for being a perfectionist and very precise, and Jordan Love is a different beast. He's more like,
and I'm fine with that because at the end of the Rodgers career, he was too much of a perfectionist and it annoyed the crap out of me.
He's a mixture of Favre and Rodgers or whatever you want to call it.
That's why I like Love, because he is very accurate, but he also has some Favre in him where he just does crazy stuff, and I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it.
Just like every quarterback, like even Jalen Hurts, all these guys, they keep on Jordan Love's been better at making it the proper motions of his throws. Literally just the basics of taking the correct motion, the correct step to throw into the ball and not just throw off these weird platforms. So he's been a bit better at that this year, which is really a big deal because that's why Jalen Hurts and these other quarterbacks suck. They literally are just throwing the ball and being stupid, and they're not playing proper quarterback.
Right. So, and again, Jordan Love is not hurt this year. He can throw with his regular mechanics in his feet, and he can set his body and get the right velocity on it. And that makes a massive difference. When you're throwing a ball 60 miles an hour, 20 yards down the field, and you plant your leg, if your leg's injured, it's going to affect it. It might even be just this much or whatever, but in the NFL, inches matter, like Dave's wife liked to say. So, all right. Speaking of Dave, let's talk about the Bears game. How did that go? Dave is jolly because the Bears got their revenge on the Commanders. Tell me what you saw in that game, what you liked from the Bears.
Caleb Williams is off. Caleb Williams is making bad throws, or sometimes where they just throw it to the slot receiver who'd run 5 yards, turn around, sit in the zone, and Caleb would lead him like he thought he'd still be running. Caleb was getting frustrated, and we were still able to win the game. That's the important thing. Caleb had an off night. The only time he really tried to throw to Rome Odunze, it was like 30, 40 yards down the field. Didn't really set him up for success that much. It kind of looked like Kyler Murray trying to throw to Marvin Harrison. You didn't give him any crossers or anything else.
Oh, are you saying he's just slightly better Kyler Murray at quarterback?
Yeah, because he just had two more inches.
That's
right. One's 5'11", the other's 6'1". But yeah, so he's off, and you could his body language and everything else. He was off. He was getting upset. He was getting frustrated and everything else. But that's on him, But it's still nice to see, he's not happy with stuff. Some of the times it looked like he was pissed off at other people, but it was just like, no. When you look at the way this was probably schemed up, a lot of times it's just how they design them in the NFL. You sit, you get your 5 yards, and then you turn, you just keep moving the chain. So he's still not there yet. There's still a lot of room for development, but it was nice to see that we got our starting linebacker back, and we also got Kyler Gordon back. One of our biggest holes has been our rush defense, right? They kept showing that at the beginning of the game, how we're second to worst as far as rushing yards, yards per carry, everything else, and what we give up. It made a world of difference having a linebacker there. What do you know? Linebackers still matter. We held Bill to 17 carries, 61 yards, so less than 4 yards per carry. He balled out last week, and I thought that was great to see Jaden Daniels. We did pretty good, 10 carries for only 52 yards. So we did not allow their rushing offense, which I thought we were going to have a lot of problems. I thought we were going to give up 200 yards. I'm sure that the rain helped a little bit with some of the footing and whatnot, but it was nice to see that our defense showed up. We still didn't get as much pressure on there. Sweat, he got a roughing the passer penalty when we stopped him on 3rd and 10, which was very ticky-tack. You're getting paid all that money. If you're not going to get the pressure, if you're not going to get the sacks, at least don't extend plays,
Yeah, that could have lost them the game, honestly, on that drive. That was pretty bad.
But at least it was nice to see DeAndre Swift was actually able to get some space. The big move that we made between last week and this week is we replaced our left tackle. We stopped saying, okay, our 5th round draft pick left tackle from 4 years ago, he's not doing it. He got hurt last year. He's obviously not recovered. And even then, when he was there, he wasn't really good in the run game. All of a sudden, we brought in the Canadian Eagle, put him at left tackle, Theo Benedict. And what did we see? We saw DeAndre Swift was able to run off of the left tackle. He finally has a spot that he could run to. And he was making plays off of the left side. If you watch it throughout the game, he was sneaking out there. You saw Theo Benedict. He was making blocks 5 yards down the field. Our right tackle, he's okay. He's supposed to be a mauler, but he's not. He hasn't been able to get those gaps open and whatnot. But it's nice at least Swift can open some stuff get some open stuff on the left side, because we've said it before. Swift, he can't create blocks. He can't set up blocks. Set up his blockers to create stuff for him. Theo Benedict is a mauler that he's able to rely on to give him the space. So DeAndre Swift finally gets 100 yards rushing. He got 2 catches for 67 yards. That 55-yard touchdown pass was fantastic. Neckbeard may have been recording part of that game. We didn't necessarily realize it. We won't be able to release it because there may have been some adult language involved in there for me.
Lots of adult language in there. Yeah.
But it was fun to be able to cheer and whatnot, just seeing, hey, we actually had some dynamic plays. It didn't come from Rome. It came from somewhere else. DJ Moore had a good game. Not a great game, but they tried to get him incorporated more. So,
yeah.
All in all, Caleb has a bad date, and we're still able to win on the road to Washington, who we found out they're a good team. They're not a great team. Right. Last year, they just had the outlier. You guys, Hype has mentioned it a whole lot, the sophomore slump, Jaden Daniels. It's here. He still looks good. He still looks dynamic, but
yeah, they're not the same team they were last year. And again, we covered this earlier. They were like 70% on 4th downs last year. They won like 8 one-score games last year. That's just not repeatable stuff. That's like crazy high, right? That's like when you're on an absolute heater, which they were, but heaters don't last forever. And so the Commanders have fallen back down to earth. Now, that doesn't mean the Commanders are a bad team. I still think they're potentially a playoff team, but the Commanders kind of showed some of their stripes today because 3 turnovers, 2 bad fumbles, and to give Brisker made a good play, but Jaden Daniels, he throws up where it's supposed to be. That's not a pick. And then obviously the fumble at the end of the game is just kind of bad luck in the rain, which the Bears didn't have because the Commanders dropped like 3 interceptions that Caleb tried to throw.
The Commanders made like a literally mistake every play.
Oh yeah,
tackles, dropped interceptions.
I said, Dave, for you guys to beat the Commanders, you need to have 2 more turnovers. It turns out they needed 3, and but we knew that was what was going to be required, and the Commanders just didn't make the plays they should have made, and when it came to turnovers. And then the Bears did, or at least, some of the luck came. I mean, Jaden Daniels just slipping. I mean, if he holds on to that ball and they run it out, there's a good chance the Bears, don't have a chance to win that game. So, right. But to be fair, I thought the Bears offensive line was excellent in this game. I thought they did an excellent job. Run blocking, especially DeAndre Swift was the player of the game because of the offensive line, right? And that screen pass that he basically took for a touchdown. And they were giving Caleb tons of times. There was one time he got sacked where I counted to 6 because he was just sitting back there, and there was a clean pocket around him. 4 clean pocket, 5 clean pocket. Okay, at 6 it collapses, and he just kind of. It's like, dude, that's 100% on Caleb. Like 6 seconds is an exorbitant amount of time. So no, the Bears' offensive line to me was the most impressive thing and thing that you guys can hold your hat on going forward, because it's just in my brain that Wisconsin shoots themselves in the foot, but Washington shot themselves in the foot numerous times tonight. The Bears did too. They tried because they're the Bears, but Washington just did a better job of it. And, there's a lot of things to work on for Chicago, but that offensive line I thought was excellent tonight. They were excellent.
And you
against
got to give the
Commanders.
Bears credit for not completely falling apart in that rain. Like the Washington looked terrible, but like
Yeah.
the thing about it is that like the Bears didn't. The Bears maybe made a few mistakes here and there, but they kept it together and did what they had to do, and that's what football is. You just got to get the job done.
It didn't seem to affect DeAndre Swift at all. He loved it because when it started
Yeah.
raining was when DeAndre started
He
taking
just
over.
runs forward. It's fine.
Even running the ball after the fumble, like he was cutting up field, like there was no issues whatsoever. So good job, DeAndre Swift. Good job again, Bears offensive line. I think that was the biggest difference, apart from the turnover differential. But good on the Bears getting some revenge against the Commanders. So there you go.
And if you look at both the game against the Bears and against the Packers, Washington looks like a terrible team in a sense. Now, they've had other good games, but it's just kind of shocking a little bit how bad they are compared to what people thought they would be.
Well, I think we all knew what they were going to be. I think we all said they're like a 9 or 10 win team. They'll fall back down to earth a little bit. And that doesn't mean they're worse. It just like when you win 8 one-score games, you just can't do that again. You're going to win 4 or 5 like everybody else, or sometimes you're going to win 2.
Did they have a last place schedule last year?
And they also had a last place schedule last year. And now they have a second place schedule, but they're going to, even if they didn't, they were still never going to just go and dominate like they did. Because remember, they won 8 out of 9, I think, to end the year, something like that. Yeah. They're still a good team though, but
But again, the thing that scares me is going to be all of everyone in Chicago is going to be going nuts because we won 3 straight. We turned it around. And we have a very soft schedule coming up. So we beat Dallas, Raiders, Washington. Now we got New Orleans, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Giants. So it might have 7 games in a row. No matter how we win those, even if we win 6 out of 7, that's a soft schedule. So Chicago, you need to remember, this is a last place schedule. These are very beatable teams. A good team should beat most of these teams. We're not great. We're not there yet. We still got some growth, but I'm just afraid that they're just going to have their hopes too high before the end of the season.
Well, you know what's going to happen. The Bears will barely make the playoffs or miss it and then get a low draft pick. You'll get like a 22nd draft pick.
I mean, even if the Bears do beat most of these good teams, like just in their head, knowing that they can win is good for them, right? Like Caleb needs that. Like they're, a lot of these players are not used to winning a lot of games because you guys had the opposite effect last year where you lost a bunch, right? Until you went to Green Bay and we decided we didn't want to win that game.
Well, I'm just saying with like a new coach, you've got Ben Johnson there and Caleb might work out for you guys. He might not. But in the beginning of the season, it sounded like maybe Ben Johnson's it's not going to work out. Maybe Ben Johnson wants to draft his own quarterback or something if he's the long-term coach. You just never know like that. I'm just saying sometimes it's better to get that draft pick and get the quarterback you want or something, but maybe Caleb works out for him. I'm not sure.
I think Caleb is still up in the air for me. I haven't seen anything from Caleb that says he's taken a step yet. Like he looks the same to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And remember, Ben even said the reason why he chose us is because of Caleb. Caleb was his quarterback. Yeah. And he saw the draft pick. So I'm confident in Ben. Ben seems smart. He seems like a pretty bright coach. But yeah, I'm still not sold on Caleb either. But it's his second year. He's still got time to grow. Again, Rodgers got to sit for 3 years at Marinade. Mm-hmm. Love got to sit for 3 years in Marinade. This year, like we said, my goal, it's still 9 wins. It's still 8.5 wins. We are who we are, but it was just good to see that when he's off, that we can still win a game and our running game come out of nowhere. So it was a good night. It was an exciting night. I'm very happy that I still have my voice here. So
yeah. Dave. I was on 30-second delay too. So Dave's watching it on bunny ears and I'm watching it on YouTube on 30-second delay. And he's all, and I'm like, good. Because I don't know what's happening, but I'm excited when he's upset.
And it became a game show for you to try to figure out, okay, was this a turnover? Was this a sack?
I'm like playing the guessing game. Okay, did Caleb throw a pick? Is it a sack? What is it? What is he upset about? Yeah, it was a fun guessing game. On delay.
And then when it came time for Moody to come out, this is my game face.
Yeah. But he ends up making it. But Moody ends up making it. So Dave is in a good moody after that. So thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe, fuckers.